Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today I want to ask you the question, what are you hiding from the world? Now this is a very important question for chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic suffering of any kind, chronic symptoms. A lot of this boils down to getting really honest with ourselves. What are you hiding from the world? A lot of times we hide behind shields, we hide behind masks, we repress feelings, we repress and we suppress memories. We hide aspects and parts of ourselves that we feel will not be accepted or shamed, or the vulnerable parts of ourselves. And it's really, really important that we stop and we ask ourselves, make a list even, what are all the things that you are hiding from the world? And from the world, I mean by any other human, by people close to you, by your friends, from your friends. What are you hiding from the world at large? Society, just random strangers. What are you hiding from on Facebook or Instagram? Or what are you hiding from the world, okay? There are all kinds of things that we hide because we're vulnerable. We're private. We're afraid of rejection. We're afraid that we'll be shunned. We'll be afraid that we'll be judged, that we'll be criticized. And we may just not even want to talk about these things ourselves. They're not great things to converse about. So we push them down, right? We push them below the surface. If we can make a list of all the things and we can truly acknowledge every single thing that we hide from the world, then we want to ask ourselves, this is part 2, why? Why do we hide this? Why do we hide this aspect of ourselves, this part of ourselves, this experience that we had, this memory, this thing that happened to us, this trait or quality about us, this fear that we have, this anger that we have? Why do we hide these emotions, these thoughts, right? These feelings from the world and from people in our lives. And we need to start making a list as to why. And this is where the real work begins as well. Once we figure out what are all the things that we hide, now we need to figure out why. Why do we hide them? What are we afraid of? What can't we digest or stomach? Or what parts are too vulnerable? What parts are too scary? What parts are too fragile? Too alone, too scared, too worried about rejection and abandonment and judgment and criticism? And, what exactly are we afraid of? And that is exactly what we need to work on. That is exactly what we need in our lives, right? We need to build. If you're most afraid of rejection, then you most need to build a sense of belonging. If you're most afraid, of criticism, then you most need to build an environment and people around you who praise you, who build you up. You need to be able to do that for yourselves. So whatever you're most afraid of, truly, and the reason why that you're hiding these things is really what you need to work on regaining in yourselves and calling back to yourselves. Those are the aspects of you that are pushed down, they're rejected, they're denied, they're disowned, they're pushed away from you. And you need to be able to feel the opposite of that feeling, so that truly all this is leading you to be yourself, to be able to just be your true self, that you are okay, that your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your experiences, your memories, your interpretation of things are okay the way they are, with nothing. So just take that in for a minute. You are okay. You are okay. Truly, truly okay. Just the way you are. It is the hiding of these things that causes so much internal pressure It's like holding down. This expression has been used, or this analogy has been used before in pain circles, but it's like holding down, if you're in a swimming pool, a water toy or a water balloon under the water, right? It wants to pop up to the surface. But the act of holding this ball down, of trying to hold several balls down, is a lot of work. When you just want to be in the pool, swimming around, having fun, it takes effort to hold all these things down. It's effort to hold in your true self, to hide behind masks. We don't think it is. We think it's safer to hide behind masks, to suppress things, to repress them, to not talk about them, to turn away from them, to look. But it's easier to just let go of all the balls that you're holding in the swimming pool and let them pop up to the surface. They don't usually explode. They usually gently float to the side of the pool. And that's the end of it, right? And then you're free. So the more and more balls that we can let pop up, right? Let go of, the more and more that we can show our true selves, our true faces. And that means sharing with the world just who we are, just being okay, being us, having the fears that we have, having the anger that we have, having the emotions that we have, the experiences that we had. It's okay to just have had them and to be who we are and to not have to hide everything down so that we will be liked, looked on favorably, so that we don't have to deal with these things, right? It's this internal pressure that we don't even know is there, that's causing so much tension and stress in our body every day because we need to hide. We need to hide. Even as we go through our regular day and our regular routine and our regular life, and nobody's even there, and we don't think we're hiding anything. We think we're being our true selves. There's an element of, we don't really want to do the dishes. We don't really want to do the laundry. We don't really want to, go to work. We don't really want to do these small basic things. But yet we have to be good people. We have to do as society wants us to. And I'm not saying you can ignore all that, but pushing down all the feelings that you have all the time about everything, including just that you're tired, or that you're not superwoman, or you're not super mom, or you're not, whatever. It's tiring, right? It's tiring. And that's why a lot of times people with chronic illness have issues with perfectionism and being controlling, because they are trying to create a perception to the world. They are trying to get something in their environment perfect or right or looking a certain way, because underneath it they feel an extreme amount of pressure and chaos, right? That's threatening to rise to the top. So just to reiterate this video, it's very important that you ask yourself the question in meditation, in journaling, in some sort of mind-body practice work that you're doing, whether it's EMDR or tapping or whatever you like to use. It really doesn't matter. But you need to ask yourself the question, what am I hiding from the world? It's number one. Why am I hiding it from the world? It's number two. Once you get those, how can I be okay just the way I am? How can I be my true self? How can I not need to hide parts of myself? How can I be okay? How can I get the opposite of that feeling that you answered in number two? How do I start to build that in my life? How do I let go of these balls and let them pop up to the surface and just to be okay? Exactly the way I am, exactly the way you are, being yourself. So I hope this video has been helpful. I really want you to think about it and not just pass it on by and say, yeah, that's great in theory, because it will be instrumental if you can go through that entire process and actually see it through, see what you're hiding from the world, understand why you're doing it, and then find out how you can get the opposite of what you're needing most in life, and how you can start to just be okay with being yourself. If you do that, you will take giant steps towards healing and health. Not little steps, but giant steps. This is very important. And it seems esoteric and it seems like a nice exercise if you have time. But it's very important to contemplate this and to work on this every day, because we forget and we fall back into the habit of trying to hold these balls under the water. We fall back into the habit of hiding who we really are from the world, right? And that's exactly the opposite of what we need to be doing so that we can be whole and we can be healthy. So I hope, again, this video has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.